cannot meet. What am I going to budget about?
It doesn't matter how much you have.
Right.
If it's $1 you have, you can budget it and know what you spend 20 cents on versus 30 cents. And the thing with if you do not budget, then you won't see where to save.
Welcome once again to the New Foundation Christian Ministries B1 Marriage Ministry video podcast. I am your host, Donald McFarlane.
And I'm your co-host, Natalie Irving Mattox. Thank you for tuning in each week. We want to remind you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries. Remember to press the bell for notification. Thank you.
Very well. So we did say we will continue on money matters. Indeed, money matters.
Yes.
It seemed to me, Natalie,
No pun
if you
intended.
right, if you have a little money, it's a problem.
Yes.
And sometimes if you have too much money, it is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we perhaps need just to have enough money so that there will be no problem.
That's right.
But here we are. Let us talk now how the matter of handling money in the relationship is critical so that the tension can be less and hence successful marriage, one might say.
And having peace.
Yes, yes. So one of the things that I want to raise then is the importance of a couple to define their goals as a unit.
Yes.
Yes. What may represent what they hope to achieve in a year, perhaps in 5 years, and that it needs to be mutually understood and agreed upon. Would you not say?
Yes, I
Expound on that from where you sit,
Well,
Natalie.
from where I sit, I think that even from courtship or dating, you should at least start looking at where you want to go as a married couple. Whether or not you want to have children, when. Start planning for these things. Also, if you know both of you want to become more educated, then you start planning who should go first versus who would hold back, or if both of you can start at the same time. So start setting goals, what you want to achieve in 5 years versus what you want to achieve in 10 years, 20 years.
Yes.
So, start looking at things from a long-term perspective and not be short-term.
Yes. So goal setting is one of those critical things so that it would not compromise your position financially. That's because you are at variance in terms of what should be done. So persons really need to, as I said the last time, sit down and talk things through and agree upon what is to be done.
That's right.
So having defined goals, then it sounds to me clearly then that there's a need for one to recognize partnership in the process.
Yes.
Yes,
that we are, once you get married, Bishop, we are no longer when I said no longer, it's two separate individuals coming together to form one unit.
Right.
So we have to start seeing ourselves as a team, as partners, and not as individuals trying to tag along with each other. So everything that we do together, we have to understand that we are partners. We have to understand that we are one unit. So everything in the house belongs to both of us, not one party. It doesn't matter who is earning more money versus who bought this versus who has the car and whose car it is. And I can give an example because early in our marriage, I remember because I would have bought my car first, and there were instances where we had arguments because I would say when we start arguing, it's my car. And of course, my husband got very upset because, I took ownership to something. If I want to go on the road and my car isn't there, then I would make a fuss. And so these are some of the things that we have to be careful about because now you're one unit and it doesn't matter who own these things separately. Once you become a married couple, you're now seen as one.
Yeah, but we talk about, money or the lack thereof creating a challenge in the relationship when there's not enough. But I also reference that sometimes you have a lot and it is still
a problem.
Now, one of the sensitive things that I have to speak to is couples dealing with one party earning much more than the other. I submit even the matter is of greater potential conflict when it is the woman who is earning more than the man.
Yes, there becomes there's the issue of the power play. Yeah.
Power play.
Yes.
Now, let us look at this a little bit. And you can speak. Let us role play here. You can speak from a woman's perspective, and I speak from a man.
Yes.
A man typically wants to feel that he is in charge.
Of course.
You're not making that to be wrong.
No, I'm not.
It goes with the territory. Now, you can take me honestly. I'm not saying that a man must be dominant and he speaks and no dog bark and so on.
I agree.
But it is a fact that if I am not empowered by you, the woman, to feel and to act manly, then it emasculates me.
That's right.
And it comes back to hurt you.
Yes, it does.
In the relationship, how I respond to you and carry on.
It does.
I remember long before I had much a grasp on the nuances of relationship, there was this friend of mine, a colleague pastor, but ahead of me, and he had got married. But he was studying at the time, obviously not working, But his wife was very employed and was a soul income person. But guess what? She was perceptive of this knowledge of the man, at least feeling and appearing as being the man. So when they were going out together, be it shopping or, go for dinner, guess what the wife did? Before they even left the house or let alone come out of the car, she would give him the money so that at the end of the meal or whatever, he pays for it.
Yes.
Now I hear it's not about being insecure. It's just about even she wanting to see her man as somebody who is taking responsibility.
Yes, I respect that.
Yes?
Yes.
Is that important or it's neither here nor there?
No, it is important because I know and I can tell you too, a man feels respected when they feel that that they are respected by their wives or by their wife or her maybe family members and onlookers. So a man feel empowered when he is seen as the one taking care of his family. No, it doesn't mean that they are just too proud but there's a sense of pride.
Yes.
When a man feels like, yes, he can hold his own and he can take care of his woman because that's very important to them. Now, I think I like what your friend did because it shows he might be in a situation at the time he doesn't have the money, but people looking on, Bishop, is important because when they look on and they see you as a woman always taking out the money, then they start to judge. And that can sometimes plays on even you as a wife mind because friends looking on may come and make certain comments. Wait, he's using you. He's always paying the bills and so on. So it's important that, it's not that she herself is ashamed of the man or ashamed that people may think that he's using her. But sometimes just to, for the man to feel comfortable when he goes on the road that, he's taking care of his wife and he can manage and so on. I think men like that feeling. And you have to know it's not, we would say stroke your ego, but at the same time, men like to feel respected.
Whereas
and money
we
is
can,
important for that.
Just build on that a little bit, but hear this person out there saying, hey, what that has to do, who cares? Why are we becoming concerned about people's perception? My husband doesn't mind this, so it's not an issue here.
Some of those same people would be saying things like that. They themselves have become disrespectful of the man now to say, every day is your wife taking care of you, or every day. It's okay, yes, for you to at least have that sense of comfort within you. Right? Yes, you shouldn't be mindful of what others think. But I can tell you, even how people respect you, it doesn't matter how we think, People sometimes, others, individuals, they will respect those who they think can call the shots then.
Yes.
If you want, for a better word. So if like your child, your children, they're a prime example of this. So they come now out with the parents and they always seen mommy spending the money. Remember, sometimes they are not even privy to the conversations.
Right.
So sometimes even as the father, you want the child to see, even if it's not, even if you are not the one, earning the money,
yes.
But it's both of your money. So they want to see that daddy is the one, buying certain things and ensuring that mommy is taken care of and so on. And they also want to see the balance, so you can't necessarily be saying that you don't care what others think. So it's about respect.
So it's more consistent with perhaps societal norm then.
Yes.
It would seem to me.
It is.
So, okay. So, won't labor the point.
Yeah,
so, I understand if I am earning more money, I am the money person. It doesn't look any way. I drive the car, pick you up, we go to the supermarket, I pay the bills, blah, blah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then it seems where the challenge is, what are you supposed to do then? Because you're earning more than me. I know when I'm earning more than you, I take care because I'm the provider. What are the challenges on the other side? What are you supposed to do, if anything?
If I am earning more?
Yes.
Well, I mean, what I would, because even to use myself as an example, what I would do is to ensure that we have one joint account. So both of us salary our portion of it, or all the salary, and then we decide on what goes where and who save what. And so we want to look at how we create like a responsibility kind of chart or something. Who is responsible for paying the tithe? Who is responsible for when we go out? Which card you use? Because both of you can have a card or access to. Nowadays, I mean, you're not necessarily walking with cash. So if you have one bank account, then your husband can pay. Nobody would know anything, and both parties would feel comfortable.
So what we are saying here then, Natalie, you are building on the importance for joint bank account.
Yes, that's important.
Indeed, so that it's pooling your resources together.
It is.
So you can manage life, in terms of your expenses in a way that will navigate you away from financial ditch.
That's right.
Ditches that you may fall in. But then somebody else saying that, I don't know about that. To have joint account, what when I need my money, and the other party is saying that, no, you're not supposed to draw it. There has to be clearly some understanding about this.
Yes, which is why I said you have to talk about responsibilities here.
Yes.
So once both parties' salaries go to the account, then you want to look at who pays the bills, and which is, we're going to talk about budgeting. So you're going to look at who should be the person then ensuring that the bills are paid. So who is responsible for that? And you may want to look at the party who is stronger at ensuring bills are paid, because that's a big issue as well.
That's a big issue.
So for some, yes, man, that's a big issue for some, because either you don't remember or you're not paying attention to it. You have some who will diligently ensure that this is paid, ensure that this is transferred, and so on. You have the other person who would say, okay, this is what, so we look at what is spent on, your hair, because, for women, we want this, for men, cut your hair. So it's not just to go and pull money as you feel, but there must be a common understanding about why you're pulling the money and for what purpose.
Indeed. But let me just cite that I've come across, experience where one spouse has to take some restrictive actions.
Yes.
To save, in this instance, to save himself. In other words, very forthrightly speaking, he earns. So it's not so much a lack of money, but there's a weakness on the part of his spouse who spends freely.
Yes.
Yes? He's not, one would say, a miser, or he's not, some may say parsimonious, but he allows for a credit card even.
Yes.
But it is constantly being overrun. And so, though together they have an account, he has had to withdraw the credit card.
Yeah, and I agree.
You
with
agree
him.
in such an instance?
Yes, I agree with that, because you have to safeguard yourself as well as your spouse and your marriage, and by extension your family. So if because there are some of us who has a habit of spending. Some people, they also have a sickness where they spend impulsively, or they buy, they have an impulsive attitude. And when people are stressed, Bishop, when individuals are stressed, then that's when they tend to spend. So you have to make sure that somebody is following up, and somebody is monitoring that process and ensuring that they protect the family. So I would pull that credit card too.
It seems then to become useful that persons are honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And if I know that I have a particular weakness, that I'd expect my spouse to be strong to help me in that weakness of overspending.
Yes, which sometimes result in arguments a lot of the times, because that's where the issue generally comes in.
Right.
The arguments about spending and want to spend and what to spend on and who should spend this and so on.
So, but then at best it could be a discussion and decision as to one party doing what you are better at.
Exactly.
And the other party does what she is better at.
That's right. That's what we're saying.
Well, in my counseling sessions on a matter of money,
yes,
I try to be honest with my counselees and to say my model may not be able to be replicated in another marriage.
Yes.
So on the surface, I will agree, or so if they suggest, certainly point them in the need for having a joint account, certainly. But persons as individuals are entitled to have their own individual accounts, because they may want to do things, whether it be to their own relatives or otherwise, that it should not be a matter of being vetted by the other party
as dishonest or hiding or reporting. Yes,
even though the point that should supersede all of that is that whether it is in my own account that I have full control of, I teach a principle that everything that I have is my wife's.
Yes.
And everything my wife has is mine.
That's right.
So even though I have exclusive right, quote unquote, to spend from my individual account, my wife is $50,000 less off.
Oh, yes.
But not at her peril, if you understand the point I'm making.
I see.
Right.
I see.
But this joint account and budgeting and spending, Natalie, I put it this way, and I won't labor the point. This model that we have, which is not in any book, all of our monies go into an account that I have the authorized power to spend.
Yes.
I'm the spender in our marriage. Yes?
Okay.
And that may sound that it is, I don't know if it is glorious or whatever is the description.
It is for some people, yeah.
I would like to give it up.
No. Well, you probably want to switch places with my husband.
I would like to give it up. Yes? Right.
My husband is the saver, so.
Well, there you go. So it's where the strength lies.
The strength lies.
I don't know, whereas I don't see myself as a spendthrift, really, because what am I going to spend on?
Money. Yes.
But she is the one who has the gift of saving from partners and all these things. And so all the significant achievements is an account of her prudence.
That's good. Yes.
In ensuring that.
Yes.
And I don't feel bad about that.
Yes.
What I feel bad about is having to pay the bills. Yeah. Indeed.
Well, that is good though, Bishop.
Indeed.
Which is what I'm saying. We have to look at who is stronger at what.
Yes.
As I said, my husband likes to save.
Yes.
I may be the one who would take more risk in terms of going after certain investments.
Yes.
Or, in terms of I want to look at expanding. I tend to be the one to, visualize and have the vision of where we want to go and buying and spending on house and so on. He is the one who tends to be a little bit more calculated in terms of his risk and in terms of what we do first versus I can say we want a car and we want a house and I want to plan for both of them same time.
Yes.
He's the one who will sometimes pull me back and say, can we do the house first? Can we do the car first? So, at the end of the day, we achieve,
yes,
and I think we have our complementary strengths. So I get him to move, I push him,
yes,
but there are times when I need to be controlled,
right,
which I think he is good at.
Balance.
Yeah, he balances it. Yeah.
So let us see how we wrap this then. So important to many times a good relationship is that money needs to be there,
yes,
and needs to be managed well.
Yes.
We are saying that the party who has a greater strength, gifting, ability in managing money,
yes,
needs to play a proactive role in that without being stifling to the needs of others.
Right.
We are saying that there needs to be shared responsibilities.
That's right.
Saying to avoid taking on more than you can manage.
Yes.
Yes.
And we're saying budget. That's important. Yes.
Yes.
We need to sit together as a couple, as a team, and do a very good budget, a detailed budget of all the expenses. And then what I generally do, so when I do my budget, both of us do our budget. What we generally do is we tend to reconcile to ensure that every month you stick within your budget. So that is helpful. So that's where different strengths and gifts of each other complement each other.
Whereas that could be a whole session in and of itself. But
yes,
somebody's saying, what budget you're talking about if my needs and my ends are not being met, cannot meet? What am I going to budget about?
It doesn't matter how much you have.
Right.
If it's $1 you have, you can budget it and know what you spend 20 cents on versus 30 cents. And the thing with, if you do not budget, then you won't see where to save. And one of the things that I find very important too is, when you budget, you'll know where you prepare yourself for emergencies.
Yes.
So you will know, okay, if I have $10 if we get $10 for the month, then we know, okay, based on our budget, it's very tight. So there's no cushion for emergency. So if one of us should get sick, where is that money coming from? So your budget helps you to visualize and to see what, if there are gaps,
yes,
or if there are savings or that you can use for a rainy day. So you have to, budgeting is extremely important, and that's something that we could spend hours on just teaching how to do.
There you are. We'll have to hold it at that right at this time. At the core of it, we are saying money matters.
Yes.
Be not afraid to be proactive to make money and to be wise in how we spend money, so that the lack thereof will not cause an unbearable strain upon the relationship.
That's right.
This is Donald McFarlane, your host, coming from this B1 Marriage Ministry podcast.
Yes, and I'm Natalie Irving Mattox, your co-host. Again, we just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Foundation Christian Ministries. Like us on Facebook at New Foundation Christian Ministries and on Instagram at NFCM Official. We also want to thank our sponsors, Mattox Health and Fitness, and our resident producer, George Malcolm Walker. Thank you so much for watching.
See you next time.
Bye.